Hello everyone. So till now we have discussed about the collections in general and we have deep dived into the set interface. So in this video we will discuss about another important collection which is list interface. So what is list interface? By definition it is a child interface of collection interface, and basically it is an ordered collection or sequence where, unlike collection, user of the list interface has precise control over where in the list each element will be inserted. The user can also access the elements by their integer index and search for the elements in the list. Now the other major difference is that, unlike sets, lists typically allow duplicate elements. Now let us understand both of these points using an example. So the general syntax of implementing an interface in Java is like interface name, then the reference variable, then the new keyword and the implementing class. Where we can also specify the type of data which we want to store in this particular reference variable or the collection in our case. So here, using the same approach, I have implemented my collection and my list here, where I'm specifying the type of data it is going to store is integer, and it is implemented using the array list class here. Okay, so now coming to the point, like where we have mentioned like it provides list interface provide additional benefits over the collection interface. So now if we add an element into a collection here, okay, then we can see we are having only two add methods, right? Where I can add either the integer or I can add the complete collection. But unlike this, if I add an element using the list implementation here, so I get four add methods where I can add either the element using the integer value. I can also add the element on some specified position. I can add the complete collection. I can even add the complete collection over some index. So this is the additional benefit which list implementation gives over the collection implementation. Now the other point was like, unlike sets, in list we can have the duplicate values. So here if you see, I have added 10 two times here in this implementation. Now if I run this code, we can see collection is printed out and my list is also printed out. Okay, and here I'm having the duplicate values. Even I can have the multiple null values in my list implementation. So this was all about the basic definition. Now let us see what are the various implementations of the list interface. The first implementation is the array list, which we have already seen, like how we can implement a list using the array list implementation. Okay, so basically what happens in array list, what exactly an array list is. Array list is a dynamic array, okay, where we add items to an array list, the list checks to see if the backing array has any space left. If there's a space, the new item is just added at the next empty space. If there is not space, a new larger array is created and the old array is copied into the new one. So basically in array list implementation, we are having an backing array or the array where the elements are being added. Okay, so as soon as the space in that backing array is filled, a new array is created with some extra space where that backing array is then copied to the new array. Okay, so this process is repeated. So that's why we call it as the array list. Okay, so most of the time we will use array list as it offers constant time positional access, because we are using the indexes in this case, so we can easily access the elements using the indexes. Okay, so now Now the next implementation is linked list implementation, which is also an important implementation of the list interface. Okay, so syntax wise it is same, only the only varying thing is here the class. So in this case we are having the linked list class. Okay, so linked list is basically implementing the linked list data structure in the backend. It is a linear data structure where the elements, unlike arrays, are not stored into the contiguous memory locations. So what do we mean by contiguous memory location? So let's say in my array, if I'm storing element A into the position, let's say some position on the memory is like 0 is the position in the memory, then the next element may be stored into the 1 position, the next other element will be stored into a 2 position. That is a contiguous memory location. But in case of linked list, every element is a separate object with the data part and the address part, and elements are linked using the pointers or the addresses. Okay, so elements are not on the contiguous memory location, but they are linked to each other. Okay, so each element is known as a node into the linked list data structure. Due to the dynamicity and ease of insertions and deletions, they are preferred over the arrays. Okay, if we frequently add elements to the beginning of a list, or we iterate over the list to delete elements from its interior, we should prefer using linked list implementation. Okay, because in this case these operations will take constant time. Okay, now the other implementation which is there is like vectors implementation. Okay, vector implementation. So here if you see, the only varying thing is the class name, which is vector. Okay, the rest of the things like are same, like methods which are there, they are almost similar, like add operation. Okay, get operation, set operation, those methods are here, which we will discuss, like what are the various methods which are available here in the list implementation. We will discuss all those methods as well. Okay, so now if I see here, I have implemented the list using the vector class. Okay, now vector is there in Java since Java was introduced, that is from Java version 1.0, and collection was introduced in the version 1.2. So the limitation of the vector and why collection was introduced was because by default the size of vector is 10. If we add more values, then its size doubles. Okay, so vector basically increases the size by 100%, whereas in case of array list, a size only increases by 50%. Apart from that, these two are almost similar. The major difference is like vectors are thread safe. That is, when we are working on the multi-threaded environment, then we can think of using the vectors. Otherwise, we should always use the array list implementation. These are the various implementation of the list interface. So now let me run this program for you. So here you can see like we have stored the elements into the collection, that is the list interface implementations using the array list implementation, linked list implementation, and the vector implementation. So I hope you guys are able to understand. In case you have any questions, please let us know over the video comments. Thank you.